Hi. I think I mentioned in a previous video, a recent video, that my father has just had a minor stroke, and this is the father I haven't seen for 40 years, but with whom I've recently re-established contact, and I've seen him 3 times in the last few months. I am going to see him again in a couple of days' time, and my friend is very kindly offered to come along with me, and this does make a huge difference. Yes, I'm honest, I'd be struggling going on my own. I really would find it difficult. I have been once on my own, but it's pretty exhausting. Anyway, as he would say, I am slightly apprehensive about seeing him in his new state. He was frail before, but he's much more frail now, and I gather his mobility is even further impaired. I have spoken to him on the phone, and he sounded very fragile. My sister is visiting. I've just learned that she's visiting him this week. She arrived today, and she's here for 4 days, 5 days, there for 5 days. And again, I'm apprehensive about that because I did meet her a month or so ago. I lose track of time. A couple of months ago? It doesn't matter any. It's irrelevant. And I found that very difficult. It's difficult meeting my father. Adding in my sister made it doubly, trebly difficult, which is slightly interesting. Is it interesting? But I say that because she was a member of the family with whom I got on a bit. Yeah, say I got on with her is not quite true. She was the member of family, something there, to whom I felt closest, with whom I communicated most, although, as I've said in a previous video, the communication was pretty much all one way. She did all the talking, I did the listening. But I did feel I knew her slightly better. And meeting her again, she's a complete stranger. More of a stranger, I think, than my father was when I met him. Harder to talk to, in that he talks a lot. I just found I had nothing to say to her. I might have said again earlier that we ended up just talking about trivia, just cats and fucking shit like that, the weather. And my father was supposedly sleeping, but he was listening and commenting on the inanity of our conversation, which didn't make it any easier. So I'm not looking forward very much to meeting her. Maybe it would be easier if we had some time alone together. I don't know. I still suspect there'll be long silences. But who knows? However, another potential difficulty, and this is a much more significant difficulty, is that my brother may well be there, because I gather, in the absence of any what is called care package, my father's carer, and I think he's got not one of his usual ones this week, is not able to get him out of bed and move him around, because this is something he could just about do on his own, but he can't now. And as I understand it, my brother has been coming over and helping with this. Now, my brother is the one family member, other than my late mother, whom I really didn't want to meet. My father has warned me that he'll be around, and said that he'd understand if I wanted to cancel the visit to avoid meeting my brother, because although he was very pushing that I should meet my brother. He seems to have taken on board that I really don't want to. Why don't I? Interesting question. My father suggested I might want to cancel. I don't want to because I have very few opportunities when I can go, and even fewer when my friend can travel with me. And that's something that I much appreciate, but on which I can't rely. I can't rely on it continuing. And so it's not something I take for granted. My appreciation is huge, but I don't just assume it's going to happen. If I cancelled, rearranged it, there's every likelihood that we wouldn't find a coincident time when we could visit together if she wanted to. So it's going to happen. What's going to happen with my brother? Why don't I want to meet him? Right. I can't answer that in a word or a few words, 4 words. Why can't I answer that? Why don't I want to meet him? We were never close. We were far from close. We didn't get on at all. Why not? He was my mother's favourite. That was very obvious, and my father has said that. In this recent reacquaintance, he has confirmed, volunteered the information that my brother was my mother's favourite. Did I resent that? I don't know. I didn't want to be with him. I didn't want to play with him. I didn't want to share things with him. And I don't know that I've talked about this in earlier videos, going back to the first ones, which none of you have watched, and I don't blame you. They're fucking boring. I didn't get on with him as a small child, and then later at school, he came to the same secondary school as myself, and really I just wanted to keep distance from him. Now, this is something to share with my friend. I was trying to talk to her about why I didn't want friends to come to my house. Really, never, ever, ever, ever. And I still don't. And I really didn't want, have never wanted to take my wife to meet my family. And maybe that's part of why I have not done so before. I'm going off on a tangent here. She was very pushy about contacting my family, which made me even less keen to do it, want to do it. So I would never have wanted her to meet my family, and that, well, I would never have wanted that. So it's quite unusual and surprising for me to be happy with my friend accompanying me, and actually feeling it's quite important for me to have that support in a way that I would never, ever have wanted my wife there. Discuss that and explain it. I can't. But my brother, he came to the same primary school as me, although whilst I was there, he was in infants? I don't know. Infants, juniors? I don't know. I can't remember. But he was like in a separate part with a separate playground. So other than travelling to school together sometimes, although I really remember going with my sister, I can remember sometimes walking home with my brother. Not well. Probably only 1 or 2 occasions, but that's by the by. So we didn't actually spend time together at school, but he followed me. He's 4 years younger than me, 3, 4 years younger. He followed me to secondary school, and I really didn't want that. It was such an intrusion. So I wanted nothing to do with him. But he seemed to be following me around, and I've tried to just explain this, that he seemed to want to copy so many things I did. Things at school, misbehaviour. Have I said before, I was the first person in living school memory not to have been made a monitor or a prefect, that is, given a position of responsibility. He was given one and he resigned it. I went to university, gave up after a year and went to a different course. He went to university, did a year and gave up and did a different course. I went to work for a year in Herefordshire, and he went to work for a year in Herefordshire afterwards. Those are just a few examples, but I felt that my school life was dogged by this copying. Now, we were never close. There was a period later when we went out drinking a lot together. He was working on farms, and once or twice I went to join him, stay with him, work with him a bit. Must have been the odd weekend or something like that. I can't remember now. But the only bond really we had was that we were both getting very drunk. And I suppose at that time I didn't have anyone else to get drunk with. I'd broken up from after a very toxic relationship, which I hadn't talked about on here, which I may one day, although it's not interesting. No, it's not, believe me. I don't think it's interesting. I'm talking too quickly. I will slow down and concentrate on breathing a bit more. After that breakup, he must have been around home and I was around home in the general area, and we spent quite a bit of time going out, getting drunk together. I didn't have anyone else to drink with. I don't know whether he did. But I wanted to put a stop to it. So I moved and didn't give a forwarding address more than once. But he did sort of like pursue me. And of course he was in contact with my family, which is what I really didn't want. He was part of my family, but in contact with them. Have I said before that I never really felt that I was part of that family? I was never comfortable with it. And for a brief period, I did feel that my in-laws were more of a family than my own family ever was. But they're all dead now, so that's gone. Which is dismissed as a triviality, but it is significant because the only people left on that side of the family are not people I know or want to know or want to see, because they do not feel like family. But I digress. Brother. So there was this brief period of drinking, and then I just wanted to put distance between us, keep him away, which I attempted to do by moving and not giving him my address. And I thought I'd shaken him off on one occasion, but where did he get my address? Out of the blue, he turned up, knocked on the door, maybe with his then girlfriend, wife-to-be, or was she wife? Oh, that brings up another memory. I'm rambling and meandering. That he, again, out of the blue, I'd been trying to distance myself. He wanted me to come and with this woman friend. Were they married then? Oh, I'd have to backtrack a bit. This is getting convoluted. I had not been in touch with him. No, I don't know the sequence here. I hadn't been in touch with him, and I've been trying to get distance, and he wanted me to come and view 2 flats, one of which he was thinking of buying. And I think, how the fuck could he afford to buy a flat when all he'd been doing was just bits of jobbing work on farms and spending money? It's a question that puzzles me to this day, but not to the extent of wanting to ask him, or ask him whether he bought it. Well, I could ask whether he bought a flat. So there was this deeply, deeply awkward occasion where I visited these flats with him and his girlfriend, wife. I don't remember what she was at that time. Why? Why did he want me along? For fuck's sake. What do I know about it? And as always, I couldn't say, no, I don't want to see you. So I went along awkward and then hopefully cut off again. Now the sequence eludes me. Before or after that occasion, which, who knows, I can't remember, I had again thought I'd shaken him off, and he turned up at the house. It might have been with this girl, I can't remember. And that was horrible, coming into my house. No, not allowed. And then the sequence eludes me. Before or after that, he somehow got hold of my phone number. How did he get my address there? Mystery. He got hold of my phone number. How the fuck did he get hold of that? And he rang me up, told me he was marrying this girl. Awful girl. She really was awful. And my father has said that. And a friend of mine, whom also I managed to cut off, with whom I cut off contact, principally, I think I've said elsewhere in this thread, I cut off contact with him because he established contact with my family. And really, I wanted no link between my life then and them. So I had to drop him, and the usual thing, moving and not saying anything. I think my brother got my phone number from him, rang me up, I think he was drunk, and said that he was going to marry this girl. Awful, awful girl. Did I say that? Yes. And I brought my friend into it, because my friend out of the blue, my friend then, a school friend, acquaintance, rang me up and said, oh no, this is later rang me up and said that my brother had married an awful woman. And that was not any prompting from me, but yeah, it seems myself, my then acquaintance and my father all thought she was an awful woman. They're divorced now. Said he's getting married, invited me to his wedding. I didn't go. I don't know at what point I didn't go. Did I have an invitation? Did I accept an invitation? I doubt if I would have actually accepted it, but I didn't go to the wedding. No. And then I moved again and was able to leave them all behind. I might have heard from the then acquaintance once more. or did I bump into him in a supermarket car park some years later? Again, the sequence is lost, and I've lost my thread. It was important to me to keep distance from my brother, and I managed fairly successfully. But somehow, 3 moves later, different life. I was married, living in a different county, completely different industry. I had a Christmas card letter from him, which I wanted to needed to hide, because my wife found it. And then all this started about getting in touch. And that was, I got really concerned, because I believe that had she got his address, been able to get his address, which I hid, she would have been in touch with him, which is out of order. This isn't explaining why I didn't want to see him, although it's maybe talking a bit about the lengths to which I went to avoid it. I think that's probably it for the moment. Yes. I have a visitor.